Hey everyone. So today I thought I would actually showcase one of, I don't know if it's necessarily new, I've had this for a couple of months now, but one that people on my Instagram haven't necessarily seen. So this is my Philodendron Gigas or Gigas, don't know how to pronounce it in English. The word is originally Greek, so it would be Philodendron Gigas. If it was somebody that was from a Greek background, that's how they'd pronounce that. And generally that word means something that is large. And you can see as the leaves are getting more mature, they're getting larger and larger. And this one I don't want to touch too much because that one is still a relatively juvenile leaf. It's still coming in. So yeah, you might be able to see if I bring this in a bit closer. It's got very similar traits to the Philodendron melanochrysum, so it's still a velvety feel. You might be able to get a bit of an idea of the shimmeriness that happens on the back of the leaves, which I don't think a lot of people talk about with this plant. But again, you can see I've kind of done my usual and jerry-rigged it up support stick necessarily, because if I had to buy a moss pole for every single one of my climbing aroids, I'd be buying moss poles all the time. And I have enough time, I have enough of a hard time buying terracotta all the time. But as you can see, it's in terracotta. It's actually against the support, which, as we mentioned on previous videos, will help those leaves get larger, and it has been doing that. You can see there's been some damage. Unfortunately, this leaf it was a bit unstuck when it was unfurling, and I thought I could maybe try very gently prying it open. Try to avoid that as much as possible because things like this happen. But as you can see, I've left it on there. It's still helping the plant to photosynthesize, so there's absolutely no point of getting rid of what is a cosmetic damaged leaf because it can still photosynthesize with the rest of it. But as you can see, it's growing really, really nicely. This one may be a medium grower, I have to say. So it does take a while to kind of get going. I think I had it about here when I first got it. And this is another one of great purchase from Sarah at Eastern Tropicals again. And it was, I think, until about there. So the rest of it that's kind of grown has grown in my care. It's not been a particularly fussy philodendron. It's harder than I thought it was. When I first saw these online, I saw the images, I kind of assumed the leaves would be similar to the melanochrysum or the micans, but actually these are actually a lot more succulent. And I thought this would start growing really big really quickly, but from what I've seen, it takes a while for this to get to sizable leaves. But still a wonderful plant. Definitely glad I have it in my collection. And yeah, in terms of care, terracotta as always with philodendron. In my aroid mix, which is quite airy, if you need a video on that, I think I've now tagged it at the very top of my Instagram profile where they've got the stories, so you can kind of go and click on it there and you can see. Watering wise, once a week roughly on this one. Again, in my environment, this sits in my plant room, so between 50 and 60% humidity. But because the leaves are as succulent as they are, I don't think this would have a problem in household humidity. If you do have this in household humidity and you disagree, drop it in the comments down below and let everybody else know, because I would imagine that it wouldn't have a problem. What else can I say about this? Feeding, even now in the winter, I'm feeding a weak solution of liquid gold leaf, which is a fertilizer that I use for all of my plants at the moment. And yeah, it's probably getting fed every second or third watering on average, I'd say. But overall, medium light actually, this one. Again, one that I tried in a more bright and direct light, and it wasn't really that happy with it. So I moved it a bit further back and it seems to like it a lot more. It probably has got something to do with the fact that it's growing a bit slower than I was expecting it to. But as long as it's growing, even if it's growing a bit slower, I don't mind. I've got all the time in the world to wait for these things to kind of grow up. And to be fair, I've got enough large plants as it is. Some of these can stay small for a bit longer and save me some space. But yeah, this is the Philodendron Gigas or Gigas. If you've got any questions, any comments, if you've got this and you want to have a discussion, drop it down below. Let's have that conversation. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and hopefully I shall see you here soon. Thanks. Bye.